I've had One UI 5 for about 2 weeks now and my experience has been actually really good. I went from having an inconsistent S22 Ultra running One UI 4.1 to now running One UI 5. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I have encountered some bugs after running One UI 5, so in this video, I'll talk about the good and the bad of One UI 5 after using it for 2 weeks. The battery on my S22 Ultra hasn't really changed after updating to One UI 5. In fact, it might have actually improved. Before One UI 5, on One UI 4.1 I used to get between 7 and 8 hours of screen on time, but after upgrading to One UI 5, I consistently hit 8 hours of screen on time now. So in my books, even though I was getting between 7 and 8 hours of screen on time before, it's now consistently hitting 8 hours, so in my books, it has actually improved. Regardless of the software you're running on your S22 Ultra, it's going to give you an all-day battery. It's got an extremely solid performance when it comes to battery, and that is not surprising considering it has a 5000 mAh battery. If you're a heavy, soft or medium user, it will last you all day without any problems. Samsung has completely changed the design of the notification panel in One UI 5, well, that's how it looks to me at least. Everything looks so new. You get a new animation when opening the notifications panel and it's really similar to that on the Pixel 7 Pro. I really like this because I wanted Samsung to copy that exact same animation, and that is sort of what they did. It's aesthetically pleasing and it's really good to look at. If we move to the control panel, Samsung hasn't really touched this area that much and they basically left it the same as One UI 4.1. Or should I even say 4.1 at this point? It's basically the same as the original One UI 1. All Samsung really did is just decrease the size of the little circle buttons that you can use to toggle different settings. All they did was make those buttons smaller, and for some reason I actually like this because it does look better somehow. Although I would have preferred if they went with a different design completely and scrapped this whole boring control panel thing from the original One UI. It would have been so much more clearer to show the difference between One UI 5 and One UI 4.1 if I had another Samsung phone to help me do that, but that's just gonna stay a wish for now. However, you can make that wish come true by just only tapping that subscribe button down below. Tapping that button goes a really long way and it supports the channel tremendously. Moving on, if color is something that interests you, then my next point will put a smile on your face. Not guaranteed. One UI 5 brings a brighter, more saturated and more vibrant look to it. There's been multiple apps on my home screen that after updating to One UI 5 I was like, am I tweaking or has this app changed its color? It's more vibrant, brighter, I was about to say louder. It's brighter and it just pops out more from the background. Some apps I can think of off the top of my head is the Samsung Notes app, the calendar app, the clock app, the camera app. Have I said the camera app here? The camera app, the phone dialer, basically all Samsung apps. And that is quite logical because Samsung apps are Samsung apps and they can change that whenever they want. My favorite color change though will have to be the Notes app. It looks a lot more red and really dark saturated orange and it pops out really well from the background. I like that Samsung. Staying on the topic of color, the color palette on One UI 5 is also seeing a change. It now comes with a lot more different categories you can choose from. There's a bunch more colors that you can choose from now compared to the standard 3 sections that you got on One UI 4.1. And in my opinion, the color palette now also closely matches the color palette on your wallpaper more compared to previous software generations. Let's now talk about the big boy in the room. Animations. Has my opinion on Samsung animations changed yet in the 2 weeks I've had One UI 5? I'll start off blunt and say One UI 4.1, yep, everyone knows that was unpolished, laggy, jittery, it was a complete mess. Samsung messed up with that one and that's a rare Samsung L. So have they redeemed themselves with One UI 5? For me, over the past 2 weeks, One UI 5 has been the most consistent One UI version that Samsung has ever released. It's a lot more predictable now. I actually know what animations to expect and not having to guess and think of what animation the phone will actually bring up next. One UI 4.1 will give you a bouncy, fast and slow animation all in the span of like 5 seconds. There's a couple things I don't like though, and one of those things is the delay when you tap on a widget on the home screen. And there's a delay between tapping the widget and the widget actually opening. As seen in this video right now, I tapped the Samsung Notes app widget and there's a noticeable delay between me tapping it and the widget actually opening. Now I'm not sure if this is just specifically for the Samsung apps widget. I'm not sure if this is specifically for Samsung's Notes app widget. This might not be the same for other widgets where it's instant open, this, that, but from my experience, the Notes app has been really delayed when I tap it and it actually opening. As mentioned at the start of the video, I've encountered some bugs after running One UI 5 on my S22 Ultra. One of them is really concerning and the other is just extremely annoying. If you're running One UI 5 on your S22 Ultra, let me know one thing in the comment section. When you open the camera app and you flip to the rear camera, does it also block his viewfinder by still showing you the front facing camera's viewfinder? Like, no matter how many times I tap the switch button, I'm not able to see the viewfinder of my rear camera. And the only way to fix this is by me completely closing the camera app and removing it from my recently used apps, completely closing the camera app, or changing modes in my camera app. Those are the only two ways I've seen to fix this. This is quite concerning because it can get really annoying to a point where you just disregard using the camera app. Another bug that really annoys me is the YouTube app constantly crashing. In the past, I've always mentioned Samsung One UI being a really stable UI, one of the most stable user interfaces, and that is because I've rarely ever had apps crash on me. But after upgrading to One UI 5, I've noticed that the YouTube app constantly crashes, whether it's when I'm watching a video and I switch my phone off, I turn it back on and I go back to YouTube, I just can't interact with the screen at all. So let me know in the comment section, by the way, if this is also relatable to you. And also, every time I'm watching a video, I go off the YouTube app, it's still in the background, I go back on it and the whole thing just refreshes. Either that's really bad RAM management by Samsung, or that's also another bug. So let me know down in the comment section if these two bugs I've just mentioned is also relatable to you. That really is my whole experience of One UI 5 after using it for 2 weeks, but it can't just stop there. I've also filmed a video talking about my S22 Ultra's experience after using it for a big 9 months. So that video is right here or here somewhere. Watch that next, it's really entertaining. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter, it's going to be the first link in the description. And I'll catch you in the next one.